Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Troy Fullerton with Bilingual Barrier Busters, and I've got a tip tonight for everybody about a good way to use the Google Translate app. Now, I know that online translation apps and services a lot of times leave a lot to be desired, and traditionally they have sometimes come up with translations that are just practically comical. But they have gotten better in recent years, and so that is good. But it can be a problem sometimes to get things in context, and sometimes you just got that whole theory about garbage in, garbage out. If you give it something to translate without any context or something, well, then sometimes you're not going to get very desirable results. But there is one way you can I'll specifically talk about the Google Translate app. There's one way that you can use it to very quickly help you to acquire a lot of vocabulary, and that is this. After a certain point in your bilingual journey, you're going to start to notice things that you don't know how to say. Common things, common expressions that maybe you hear somebody say and you realize, if I had to say it in Spanish, I wouldn't know how. Now, this does come later on down the road because, after all, you do have to develop a certain level of skill before that's even an issue. But what about if you're there? It can be a real pain in the neck to have to actually look things up and then try to get the right context and maybe run it through Lingui or run it through some other program to see how the words are used, and to make sure, or talk with a native and try it out and make sure that the expression that you're using is actually adequate in context. Well, this is where those apps come in, because they don't just translate words, they translate expressions. And what you can do when you realize that you really don't know how to say something, you can hit the button and you can put the expression you want to learn in the context of a sentence and see what comes up. For example, let's say let's say you heard the expression, okay, so they thought the driver was intoxicated because he was slurring his speech and had bloodshot eyes. And if you realize, I don't know how to say slurring your speech, I don't know how to say bloodshot eyes. Well, you can actually say that expression in Google Translate, and it will come up with a translation for you, and then you can practice that a few times, say it to yourself a few times, and then boom, you've acquired more vocabulary. Now what you want to do is find an excuse to use that expression as soon as possible and really make it your own. All right, so I hope this tip helps you, and I hope that moving forward you could use those apps and get a lot out of them.